Hi guys, so welcome to Art and Design. So I will be your teacher and there will be lots of videos uploaded for you guys. But the first thing that we're going to do is basically always prepare your material that we're going to do for the lesson. So for today, if you check the introduction, right, we'll be needing pencil and a traditional one, okay? So not a mechanical pencil, this is not what we want, okay? So get a traditional pencil, it can be anything. Usually we'll go for 2B, let me put it in the right way, because it's like easy to get and it's universal. So 2B, pencil, eraser. If you need a sharpener, go ahead and get a sharpener. And I also wanted to show you guys this eraser thing, which is called putty eraser. So I'm sure some of you guys have seen it before, but it's also like squishy and stuff. So if you have stuff like this, you can also feel free to use it, although we might not really need it at the moment, but just showing you a different type of eraser, okay? So the next thing we're going to talk about right now is basically the paper we're going to use. So if you prefer using a sketchbook, which I do personally because I can keep all my stuff together, but if you're the other kind and you prefer just loose sheets of paper and you want to draw on whatever that's available, go ahead. So we'll need at least 2 to 3 depending on what you guys are going to do today, as in how much you want to fill it up, alright? So on this piece of paper, right, we'll prefer it to have a bigger size because if you draw it in a smaller size, right, it's harder for you to make things bigger, but it's easier to make big things smaller, if you get what I mean. So I always encourage like maybe an A3 size. So this paper that I showed you just now, this is an A4 size, but like something like this sketchbook that I have, this one is slightly bigger than A4, so that will do. So A4 is the minimum size, okay, so A4 paper. But if you can find an even bigger one, go for it, because the bigger the better for art and design when you're learning. So the first thing we're going to cover right now is that we are going to do a warm-up, okay? So for today's warm-up, it's pretty easy. All you need to do is use your pencil and make sure this thing is straight. So make sure that your body is not going to move like tilt right and left, because like we like to do that. But we're training our hands. So like warm-ups, we also need to warm up for drawing as well. So how we'll do it is basically we're going to try to draw a straight line and make sure that your paper is not moving, okay? Once again. So how we do it is that you're just going to try to make this horizontal line. So horizontal means this way. Oh, and before I forget, so let me just explain horizontal, meaning that this direction is horizontal. I'm just going to draw it at the side, okay? So this is horizontal for your paper, okay? So this means that this is the paper orientation. But there's also another thing called portrait. So what is that? That means that you're tilting your paper this way instead. So for this drawing exercise, it needs to be horizontal, okay? But for the assignment and activity later, it can be either or. So usually in activities or in class lessons, we can pick either which way is fine. But unless it specifies like, okay, we need to do it in portrait this week, or else you guys can pick any of them. It's always in the notes, so please refer to it. So let me erase this part. So let's go back to warm up, okay? So as I was saying, we're going to draw horizontal lines. And bear in mind, when you're doing this warm up, try to always try to make it straight, okay? So we're going to fill up the entire paper. I'm going to do it a bit quicker. You guys can take your time. Some people like to do it slow so that they can manage a straighter line. But what we're trying to do is that you don't have to erase anything because this is a warm-up. So what we're trying to do is that we're trying to relax the hand, trying to warm it up so that it's used to drawing again. And one of the other things that during the warm-up that I don't want you guys to make a mistake, which is really common, is that you guys are trying to hurry through it. So then you guys will try to like, okay, I'm going to go super fast and then I'm going to flick it off. So these things, like this kind, we don't like them because these are flicks. So it means that you're not concentrating anymore. So even during a warm-up, right, we try to concentrate a bit more because like it will help you to basically focus on trying to create a straight line. So if you think this is not enough warm-up, then please feel free to do another page full of this. So remember, no flicks, okay? And we'll continue doing it as straight as possible. So what you notice is that your pencil, right, if you look at it now, because I was drawing with it, right, your pencil has become sharp at one edge because you're pressing down. So we'll talk more about that later for like how to use the pencil in different ways. And now the next thing we're going to do is that this part is the part where you might want to change your body position, but we are not going to, because if you do that, then basically it's going to not warm up your hands if you change your body. So make sure this is still in the same position, and now we're going to go downwards, vertical lines. So you can either pick up or down, whichever you prefer, but we're gonna fill it up like the horizontal lines, like all the way, okay? So I prefer drawing down because I feel like it's a bit easier to control. But if you are the kind that likes to draw it upwards, then go ahead, because it's totally up to you. Make sure you do what you feel is right, okay? So we're gonna warm up our hand. So by then, it should just be full already of lines, and it should look like a mess, but it's totally fine. So one of the most important thing is do not erase your lines, okay? So I know you're very tempted to erase them, but in the first place, this is a warm-up, so don't worry about it. You don't have to erase the lines that are too not straight. But the next one, try to get it straighter, and the next one, get it straighter, and the next one, get it straighter, and in due time you can draw like straight lines really fast and also really smooth. So yeah, it's all about practice, okay? So the third step now will be, we are going to be drawing circles. So you know when you draw circles, right, it's not going to be a perfect circle, correct? So when we're drawing circles, it doesn't have to be perfect on your first go, but you can correct it until you think, okay, so this one looks not bad. I think now it looks like kind of like a perfect circle, but what if you start like this? So this is an oval, right? Okay, it's fine. We're just going to correct it until it becomes a circle. So make sure that your hand is lifted from this. So if you're going to draw it like this, right? That's why I said draw bigger circles. If you draw it like this, you're just moving this part. But if you draw bigger circles, like I was doing just now, your whole hand is moving. You can see this whole part is moving. So yeah, that's what we want to do. We want to warm up the hand. So you can overlap, don't worry about it. Just overlap and try to make sure that the circles are round. And also, you can draw small and big, it doesn't matter. So this is basically just to get your hand warmed up, loosened, relaxed a bit so it's ready to draw. So this practice is really good when you feel like, oh man, I'm not drawing well. I just need to like maybe relax a bit, or even when you're bored in class and you just want to doodle something. This is just something to get your mind off what you're doing and just relax your hand. So at the end of it, it could look messier or it could look neater. It doesn't matter, but don't be afraid to overlap, because this is all just a warm-up for you for your actual drawing practice. So this warm-up, right, is basically something that you can do before each lesson. That means before each week. So I'll be teaching you just this once for the first time. And then after that, it's up to you whether you want to practice it or if you don't want to practice it. But of course, it's always recommended to do it, because when you do it often, your hands are more used to it and they are more used to drawing, okay? So this will be all for our warm-up.